Welcome back to TechniqueWOD. So yesterday we discussed the high bar Olympic back squat. Today we're going to do a slight variation on the high bar back squat. We're going to move the bar down a little bit. We're going to do more of a mid bar or low bar back squat. My hand position usually is a little bit wider. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but I like it to be. I know a lot of guys that actually, because you have to extend your shoulder a little bit more and really squeeze your shoulder blades together, and it requires a little more external rotation. They like to grab only with 3 fingers, and that seems to help them, if they lack shoulder mobility, to get into the right spot a little bit easier. So instead of putting the bar high on my traps here, I'm going to slide it down a little bit, and I'm going to rest it on the back of my shoulders right about here. So instead of being here high on my traps, I'm down just a little bit and resting it right on top of the posterior part of my shoulder. My stance is usually a little bit wider, and since the bar is lower on my shoulders, my back is not quite as long as it was before. My lever arm got shorter, so usually I have to bend over a little more. I can't be quite as upright, and it makes the movement, as a result, a little more hip dominant than the high bar back squat. So the same rules apply. As low as you can go, heels on the ground, knees wide over your feet, and a nice straight neutral lumbar spine. So with the wide stance, you're definitely not going to get quite as low as you would with the higher bar back squat, especially with the weights a little bit lower as well. You're just not going to be able to sink your butt quite as low as you could otherwise. Now with that wide stance, I tend to have a little more stiffness with that wide stance in my hips. It's hard for me to get a lot of depth with very little weight, and actually having a little bit of weight will help me push through that little bit of stiffness and get a little bit more depth. If you're a person who has the same issue, but you don't have the stability and the strength to keep good alignment as you get forced through a little bit more range of motion by having some weight on the bar, then you should cut it off a little bit early and work on your mobility until you can get that range of motion safely. See you tomorrow.